Hello there, people of the internet. How is everybody doing today? I'm doing all right, thanks for asking. I want to talk about the kinds of ammo that you should be stockpiling. And I've kind of touched on this subject before, but we got a lot of new people on this channel, and I've been asked this a couple of times, and my old videos on this subject are a little on the dated side. So I do want to go ahead and cover a little bit of the types of ammo that you should be stockpiling. Go to adjust my camera here, because for some reason it's aimed a little low there. Now, whenever it comes to the stockpiling of ammunition, you are stockpiling for the mindset that later on you're not going to be able to get resupplied, so you want to get as much as possible. Now, your stockpile of ammo is going to be directly dictated by what sort of rifle it is that you're going to be running. Most of us here in the United States are going to be running an AR, and most of us are going to be using a 16-inch barrel, and most of those twist rates are going to be a 1 in 7 twist barrel. And so with that factor of combination, that's not a really good setup for the dirt cheap ammo that's out there. The 1 in 7 twist barrel was adopted by the US military, and as a result, it is by far the most predominant AR 5.56 barrel that you're going to find out there on the market. And it was designed for well, the reason why they adopted the 1 in 7 twist was they wanted to be able to stabilize a plethora of bullets. It was designed and adopted in the M16A2 rifle in 1983. And with that, they also adopted green tip rounds. And these green tip rounds were designed to fire from a 20-inch barrel. They stabilized well in that 1 in 7 twist, but the issue is that 1 in 7 twist overstabilized the bullet. And so a lot of these green tip rounds, whenever you fire them at whatever it is that you're wanting to fire them at, once they hit a target, if it's like a normal human-sized torso, those bullets are still stabilized. Essentially, that 1 in 7 twist is spinning them so effectively that they're still essentially spinning and drilling through a human-sized torso. And as a result, very, very often you're going to see tumbling and yawing, which is what makes a 5.56 transfers energy onto its target. You're going to see tumbling and yawing occur outside of the target, and most of the time with those green tip rounds from a short barrel, especially a 1 in 7 twist, you're going to see nothing but ice pick wounds. Very seldomly will you find a round that actually tumbles on target, which is why a lot of times whenever we are talking about service members, they'll have to dump multiple rounds of these green tips onto a target in order to get that target to stay down, because it just takes that many rounds of these green tip rounds to have one that either tumbles or to stick enough holes in that bad guy to get him to actually stop doing whatever the heck he's doing. So if you're rocking a 16-inch 1 in 7 twist barrel, then I hate to tell you, there's not really any good options out there for cheap ammo. You're gonna want to rock like 77 grain if you want to be even remotely mildly effective with that. Now, if you're rocking a 1 in 7 twist with a longer barrel, like say a 20-inch barrel, like what I got on my M16 right here, then you're going to be far better off. The green tip rounds still are not going to be great from that 1 in 7 twist. We'll talk about green tip here in a second and what is going to be the most effective with that particular cartridge. But if you got this 20-inch barrel, using 55 grain bullets, even from a 1 in 7 twist, is going to be your best option, just because those 55 grainers, they have a lead core inside of them. And that lead core, I know a lot of people say it doesn't do it, but at high velocities, a really lightweight round, even a full metal jacket lead core round, fragments quite effectively on a target. So even from that 1 in 7 twist, you're going to start to see fragmentation, although it's not going to be nearly as effective as like the bullet actually tumbling. It's not going to be nearly as consistent as the bullet actually tumbling. If you want to rock a 55 grain bullet and get like your maximum effectiveness from it, then a 1 in 12 twist is absolutely the way to go. We have seen numerous tests done. I think the most popular one is the Military Arms Channel one, where he fires the 1 in 7 and the 1 in 12 twist against watermelon with 55 grain bullets. And the difference in damage is staggering. The 1 in 12 twist does a tremendous amount more damage on target with a 55 grain bullet. The issue is that 1 in 12 twist is not very common nowadays. Way more often than not, they're going to be that 1 in 7 twist, and way more often than not, they're going to be 16-inch, and that is just a terrible, terrible combination for the most popular 5.56 ammo out there on the market. That 16-inch, you're not going to get the full velocities that you would get out of your 20-inch, and relying on tumbling and fragmentation from a 55 or 62 grain bullet just is not, it's not there. It's too inconsistent from that barrel length with that twist rate for me to reliably, or me to feel that I can rely on it. Now, that being said, there's a lot of other barrel twists out there. If you go out and you get yourself, say, a 1-in-9 twist barrel, that 1-in-9 twist barrel, like what I have right here with my Delton DTI, that 1-in-9 twist barrel is way more effective at successfully immediately tumbling a 55 and 62 grain bullet on a target, and it's going to make it far more effective with this dirt cheap ammunition than that 1-in-7 twist will be. Matter of fact, I got this Ruger Mini 14. This has a 1-in-10 twist barrel in it, which stabilizes both 55 and 62 grain bullets. Yes, it does. I've made videos talking about that on my channel, and even taking this out to the range and showing off, this does stabilize those green tip 62 grain rounds. So before you type into the comments and tell me that I'm wrong because you saw a chart somewhere on Google Images or wherever it is that you looked it up, I tested it. And I've got video evidence to prove that this will in fact stabilize 62 grain bullets, but I appreciate the sentiment of you telling me that I'm wrong even though you've never actually tried it yourself. Same thing with people who say that a 1-in-9 twist will not stabilize 77 grain bullets. I have ran 77 grain bullets inside of my Delton DTI with a 1-in-9 twist, and it stabilizes them exceptionally well. It might not stabilize them out at very, very long distances, which I have heard before and not actually tested myself, but within 300 yards, it is good enough. I have seen other people fire these 77 grain bullets through a 1-in-9 twist barrel, and they can touch out to 1,000 yards. So I'll go ahead and let you guys decide whether or not this can and cannot stabilize that 77 grain bullet. But if you are looking to stockpile, you want to get the cheapest stuff that you can possibly get your hands on that is still going to work reliably inside your rifle. Like if you have a M4 style rifle with a carbine length gas system, running something like cheap tool ammo, steel case ammo is not gonna work well in that rifle. You're going to have reliability issues. And before you go telling me that I'm wrong, if you just run 1 or 2 mags of this tool ammo through your rifle, then that's not an adequate amount of testing. Go out and run 1,000 rounds of this tool ammo through that carbine length system and tell me how many malfunctions that you get. Because if it's more than like 2, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. So if you're, it depends on your rifle setup, the ammunition it is that you're going to be looking to stockpile. I would recommend with today's market, like your cheap steel case stuff is about as expensive as your cheap brass case stuff nowadays. They're both running at about the same cost simply because of importation laws and restrictions that have been set up, and basically everything is no longer like, everything is expensive nowadays. Nothing is like, things are no longer affordable nowadays, but there's more affordable options out there for you. 55 and 62 grain bullets, that's gonna serve you well enough. There's good platforms that you can run those in, there's bad platforms that you can run those in, but I wouldn't want to get hit by any of them. If you're rocking a really short barrel AR, then heavier bullets is always going to be better. If you're rocking a carbine length system or a carbine gas system, then brass case is always going to be more reliable than steel case. If you're rocking a 1-in-7 twist barrel, then you're going to want to go with heavier bullets just because you're going to get better effect on target. If you're rocking a 1-in-9 twist or a 1-in-10 twist barrel or a long 20-inch barrel or something like that, then you're going to get really good performance out of your 55 and your 62 grain bullets. Now, if you do decide to go with those cheaper rounds like your 55 or your 62 grain green tips, there's some options for you. I actually brought this up in another video not too terribly long ago. What I do with wanting more effective ammunition is I'll go out and I'll get the cheap bulk ammo. Normally it's 55 grain lead core. And I will actually go and get myself like some factory second expanding rounds of some kind. Normally 55 grain as well, because I'll rock them in one of my, 1-in-10 twist barrels, and they're just stupidly devastating on targets. But actual fragmenting bullets combined with that bulk ammunition can get you a really good setup while still having your bulk ammunition. Now, the amount of money that you spend on that bulk ammo and then the bullets and then the shipping and the taxes and all of that right there you could just go out and get like proper expanding ammunition for your rifle. But my mindset is you go out and you get that 1,000 round brick of 5.56, the cheapo 55 grain stuff, and then you get the bullets at some point in time if you can't afford them right then and there. But you get the bullets, and then you get, say, 100 of these much better expanding bullets that are designed to be far more effective on a target than a full metal jacket. So you have your 2 or 3 magazines worth of really good ammunition in the event that you actually need something to do a job or put something down. But you also have your bulk ammunition on standby in the event that you cannot get resupplied. Like if something happens and supply lines go down, and we don't see the ability to be able to get more, so you have that stockpile of, say, 55 or 62 grain bullets along with the good stuff, and you're not out that much money. The idea of stockpiling is you want to get as much as you possibly can that is going to be reliable and effective, but you don't want to spend a tremendous amount of money doing it. This way you can get more of the stuff. Like if I'm going out and getting, say, 62 grain or 55 grain bullets, I can get a lot of these for the same price. Like I could get 1,000 rounds of these for the same price that I'd pick up maybe 300 or 400 of factory loaded expanding rounds like what I got right here. Or if you're really money bags and you can manage to make it happen, the M855A1 round that the United States is currently using, this stuff right here, this is stupidly good ammunition, especially from the shorter length barrels. Like if you got a 16-inch barrel with a 1-in-7 twist, this is the stuff to run. Make sure you use proper magazines, otherwise they might tear up your feed lips. But what these are is they are a steel penetrating round, very similar to that of the green tip M855, except there's no lead in the bullet. We have these steel tips right here. These are what will actually tear up your feed lips if you don't use the proper magazine. But we have these steel tips right here, which serve as an extraordinarily good penetrator. But on top of that, we also have a copper slug behind it, like a solid copper slug. And the solid copper slug, more or less, with the way that the steel tip fits inside that solid copper slug, that more or less kind of acts like a hollow point whenever it smacks into a gelatinous target, which is why these rounds right here are so good at immediate fragmentation on a target. And then if you got to punch through something, you got that steel tip, which is really good at punching through things. It's not exactly armor piercing, don't get me wrong, but it's really good at punching through things. So that essentially copper hollow point that you have that immediately fragments on whatever gelatinous material it is that you're shooting at is really, really, really good and really, really, really effective. I've made gel tests on exactly these bullets that are on the YouTube channel that you can go watch if you want to see just how dramatically effective that copper slug is at fragmentation, because it is terrifyingly good. And then you got that steel core round. The issue is, these rounds right here are stupidly expensive. You're looking at like $3 to $5 per shot, depending on where you find them, when you find them, how much it is that you buy, whether or not you're just buying the projectiles or full-on loaded cases. There's a lot that goes into buying these. Getting a full magazine of this ammo on the civilian market is gonna like cost you $100 versus something else like green tip or say the 55 grain lead core, which are adequate but not nearly as good as M855A1. But something like this right here at, say, 40 cents a shot, you're looking at more like $10 per magazine versus the $100 per magazine for the really, really good stuff. All of that considered, I guess it all really depends on your rifle, what it is that you're going to be stockpiling, but you can't go wrong with like a 1-in-9 twist 16-inch with these 55 and 62 grain bullets. If you can swing a 1-in-10 twist and you can swing a longer barrel, I would highly recommend doing that. It is worth it. The amount of effectiveness on target is significantly different than something like a 1-in-7 twist. That being said, I don't want to get hit by any of it. If you do decide to go the route of loading your own, fragmenting, expanding rounds, this right here is a good cost-effective way to be able to get a lot of ammunition that is very effective on target from your shorter 1-in-7 twist barrels than investing in something else more expensive like M855A1, because these are still absolutely terrifying whenever they smack into a target. So thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. I'm just going to dump all these on the ground, I guess. Like, subscribe, share. Description below is linked to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off. Have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you on the next episode.
Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garrett. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.